Hello, my queen.
Hello, my queen.
Oh, mama. What an honor.
Touch my blood.
Touch my blood. I touch your
Yes.
blood. Oh, thank you for that. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm
Yeah.
very well. Just trying to center the energy, ground the energy in the beginning of the year.
Of course.
Trying to open the energy up to receiving whatever God is calling me to go, wherever God is calling me to go. And your side?
I'm good. I'm good. Obviously, right now, I'm struggling with the flu.
Okay.
But I am good. I feel grounded this year, so much better than last year. Last year, I was so much in my head. There was a lot of stuckness that I was
Okay.
experiencing.
Okay.
But I have to say, when this year started, I feel like I'm flowing. I can feel myself.
How did you, what, were there any practices or what helped you get unstuck?
Yeah, decision making.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't make decisions that are going to help us make the next step, and it keeps us in the same space. So that was the challenge. Excuse me.
So was that stuckness, as you put it, was that not just personal, but was it also feeding into like performance?
It was definitely personal, but how you feel personally definitely affects you creatively.
Definitely.
Yeah. So immediately when I started making certain decisions, started feeling lighter. I feel light.
What kind of, like maybe an example.
Oh my gosh, I can't make an example. I can't. People are just going to know you're going too deep.
But I'm always looking at your content and
Yeah.
I see that you are in regular practice.
Of course.
Of that. You have a grounding practice where you, I don't know if it's meditation, but you also kind of affirm certain things. And I find it fascinating that the fact that you know how to share it. So there's so many things that I do personally that I have blocks with sharing. Like I have a fear around being perceived. And I know that it affects my work as an actor. Like it acts as a block often.
Yeah.
So I admire the fact that you share your process.
To tell the truth, it took time for me to be able. I forced myself to. Let me be honest.
Okay.
Because it's not easy to share the process. But obviously, with the vision of teaching, I'm obsessed with teaching. So I always make sure that I share the process because I understand what it will do for the next person.
Okay.
And you saying that you see that process and you see that I do have grounding exercises, but I do just really want to share that, sometimes when you are in that energy of stuckness, you even forget those things and you start falling back and going back to habits that don't serve you. But it's good to have those things because when you then are starting to get out of that funk, then you know where to go and you know what's going to help you. Yeah.
Okay. So where I first saw your work was years ago on actually an Mzansi Magic Bioscope. Yeah,
What?
That was the first time I saw your face and your work. And already then, I don't know where along, I forgot the name of the production, but I don't know where along in that journey you shot that. In your journey as an actor when you shot that. But I remember already seeing like an intensity from you. Like you were quite intense in your performance and you know how to play like drama very well. Like you know how to go into very heavy and deep emotions beautifully. And I also remember thinking that at the time when I was watching you, I was transitioning from stage into screen. And I remember thinking that, oh wow, she reminds me of what we learn in film acting, how the American actors, the Hollywood actors, how they know how to play with stillness and then let all the intensity read through the eyes. Let all the story and the emotions and the internal dialogue read through the eyes. And I remember seeing that in you, in your performance on screen for the first time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's what I remember.
I'm sure that was Abo Mama, because I think that was the first Mzansi Magic
Yes.
show that I did. But season 1,
But it wasn't, you've never done a bioscope.
not necessarily a bioscope. I think it was Abo Mama, but it was back then, like
Yeah, it
around
was
2017.
years ago.
Yeah. When I first saw you, SABC2 Mamelo. I think that's was that the first show you did?
It wasn't the first, it was probably the first series.
The first series you did.
Like the first long form.
Yes. Oh, I remember the fire in your eyes.
Yes.
But just like in your energy and presence, that's really what I remember from Mamelo. And then fast forward to seeing you in other productions and seeing you on Isono, right?
Yes.
Didi, what I really admire about you is your understanding of story. You know how to tell the story without the lines.
Yes.
If that makes sense. And you will tell the story and go into certain beats of the story, even if it's not in the lines. Like that's how much you allow yourself to be taken by the story. So that's how much you have a big heart to share. You share that much when you get into it. And I remember watching an episode of Isono and I was just like, ooh, she went in. She went in.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's when I really experienced you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help but share the same sentiment with you. You do have an understanding of the arc of the characters that you play. It shows you understand also the relationship between your character's story and the others.
Yeah.
And I also believe that you have a big heart and you have a lot of depth in you that allows you to really go into the darker aspects of our humanity. You know how to tap into that very well. Is there like I'm fascinated about like how different performers tap in and tap out. Like, how do you tap out? Because we all have our own way of tapping in, and when we're in. But how do you
Tap out.
Yeah. What do you do for yourself to like?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends. It depends on how far I went. Sometimes I'm a naughty actor. I will stay with the character much longer. And then it becomes
like you
bit,
could take your character home.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not advisable. I'm sorry. But, sometimes we do those things, and I'm going to be honest about it. Because I'm waking up so early in the morning.
Exactly.
Let me just, play around it. But I'm going to be honest, it's usually music. I think music is really what helps me get in and get out. It really is. Music
is there like
my
a
thing.
specific, is it a specific genre or specific songs that?
Each character has its own genre and a song, or sometimes even an artist. Like, for instance, with Knox, how I got into Knox, it was, is it Gladys Knight? Mama, the Mama song. There's a Mama gospel song, an old Mama song.
Yeah. By Gladys Knight.
I think it's Gladys Knight. Yeah.
I love Gladys Knight. I grew up listening to Gladys Knight.
Yes, I think that's the song that helped me because it spoke to that part of her where she needed her mother and she wanted to show up for her mother. She loved her mother, but she just didn't have that part. So it just really depends on who is the character, what is she going through, and what will touch her.
Okay, so you listened to that when you wanted to get back to
To
you.
get in.
Or to get in.
To
And
get
then when
out,
you get out.
then it could be it could be anything that reminds me of Nozuko. Nozuko listens to hip hop.
Yes.
She loves female rappers, so she's going to be listening to Nicki Minaj. That's when I get back to myself. But obviously, that's just a daily practice. There are also other intense practices that I have to go through on the weekends or when I really have to leave the character, such as now. It could be going away, going to the mountain, going to the river, whatever spiritual practice that brings me back to myself.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. How did it start, Mama?
How did it start? Initially, like the very beginning, it started with a maths teacher, my maths teacher in grade 10, who I don't know how she, and that's the function of teachers in our society, that they actually see the potential in young people.
They do.
A potential that they don't necessarily see in themselves, and that our parents, maybe because they're busy and they become our parents at school, don't get to see in us. So my maths teacher saw somehow that I can sing and that I have a liking to perform and stuff. And she was having a charity show. And she's like, "You are so talented." And she cast me into the charity show. And then... And that's when I realized and knew that, oh my gosh, I think I want to act and I think I want to perform. And so she introduced that the first time. And I think that's when it really, really began. That's when I realized that, oh, I could study drama to do, and actually pursue this. So, yeah.
And you studied at VETS?
And then I went into VITS, I went into drama and television, studied that. And then I was introduced to Stephen Feinstein, who is still my acting coach to this day, with Indigo View Actors Academy. But really, it was Stephen's process that changed the game for me, It was going through a program of personal development, as well as acting technique, and marrying the two together. That really opened up the doors for me. I started to book from there, and I also I really started to kind of have a real sense of like what kind of actor I want to become. I started to develop a mission for myself. I knew what kind of stories I wanted to tell. Stephen's process really accelerated that passion for me. So, yeah. That's,
girl, you hooked me up
journey.
proper with Stephen.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I
did tell you. Yes.
You did tell me about
I tell
Stephen.
everyone about Stephen because I love him so much.
Yes.
I appreciate the gift that he is and what he does for others, how he serves others, what he unlocks in others. Yeah.
He, I mean, for me, he really helped me so much. And it was really mostly the personal development side of things that really just transformed me internally.
Yeah.
Because one of my challenges as an actor was that I struggle to hold the emotions. Yes, I'm big, I've got the intensity, but I allow it to overwhelm me, or I will prematurely use it, become too intense when it's not time yet.
Yes.
And he was just tweaking all of that. Like, it's you. Open up. Be big on the inside.
Yes. What I love about Stephen is that when he helped me with expressing the emotions. So my issue or my block was opposite to yours. So you had a lot and you could share, so he helped you refine, right? Or like fine tune. Mine was a lot and there was a lot to share, but I guess with the programming that we go through as girls, as young girls, there was like a real sense of silencing and a real consciousness of like,
I still need
being
to,
seen and being observed, and am I behaving? Am I being nice? I should watch how I speak and what I say. Don't look people in the eye when you talk to them. It might intimidate them. Don't intimidate people. Be small. So he had to reverse all that programming and help me express more, right? And I think with that kind of programming, it's a lifetime of like working on that and unlearning those things. So yeah, he really helped with that. A character that left a deep mark on me. I think all the characters that I play leave a mark, a deep one.
Okay.
All of them, really, genuinely. I know a lot of actors say, all the shows and all the characters I've played.
We're trying to make sure the producer calls you back.
Yes. But genuinely for me, each and every character has forced me to be in a state of self-reflection.
Of course.
Because you can't help as an actor but inject a part of yourself into every
To the
role you
work,
play.
into the
So
work.
each one has forced me to kind of dissect my own belief systems. If I saw a character, I was cast for one, and I began to judge the character. Like, for example, Esther in Isono, before I empathized with her, I judged her a lot. I found her to be quite weak, but I had to. Esther forced me to think about why I thought of her as weak. What aspects of her was she mirroring back to me that I needed to resolve in myself, that I felt like I didn't want to be seen or to portray Esther and have people think that that's a reflection of me, Didintle, as the actor. So there were many things that each and every character forces me to self-reflect. Like the recent one, people are watching a scam called Love right now in cinemas. And that character also challenged me because I also kind of judged her. She's robotic, she's A-type personality, and she has this aspect of her that wants to be seen as the image of perfection, but she is so human and she is so flawed. And I was challenged to inject the flaws, to inject the insecurity and make her human, and to be seen as vulnerable, as human, as someone making a mistake, as having a moment of insecurity, and know that that's not a reflection of me. That's, it's that weird thing as actors, especially the more you mature, that like you have to disassociate yourself a little bit. Like you inject yourself into the character, but then you're not egoic about, ooh, how are people going to see me? Oh my God, my makeup in that shot. Like I'm forced to tell the story and to honor the character, because I know that this character is a representation of aspects of our humanity that we all need to explore, and that we all need to see and to witness, and to resolve in ourselves. So each and every single character definitely leaves a mark.
It does.
And for you?
But are you sure there isn't that one that just like it was, I went through this, like
I think
like Celia maybe?
like Celie in The Color Purple.
I can imagine playing that kind of character.
Yeah, it was Celie in The Color Purple. I have been assaulted sexually before. And not far away from the time where Celie came into my life. And playing Celie did leave a mark because it forced me to resolve the issues I had around that assault. And it felt like I was resolving it in front of a whole arena of people watching. Even though it's silly, it really felt very close to the nose of what I was experiencing. It was like that life imitates art kind of thing. And so
I hear you.
That was hard, but it was a nice shell. I was what, 26? I was still starting out, still finding my voice as an actor. And it was a nice shell that thickened my skin, that helped me become professional, that also opened me to being vulnerable and being seen,
Didi, I always say that whether it's a stage play or a film character, but every time you make a character, you collaborate in creating a character, and then you embody it, and then you play it, and you finish for whatever period that you had been playing, it really feels like you went through some sort of initiation.
Yeah, it really feels like an initiation that is quite the same, Yeah, that is very true.
So I hear you.
Yes.
The honest truth is that every character does leave a mark.
Yes.
Because with every character, sometimes it just feels like, oh my gosh, what's happening with this character just happened to me last year. Or it's currently happening right now. Yes. So even for me, most of the characters I've played have left a mark, but I think because I played Nox for 2 years and she was so intense, she definitely did leave a bigger mark than most characters that I've played, simply because of her story and how much I could relate with the story.
Yes.
Ngumntwana osemakokokweni. I literally grew up in a place similar to Diepsloot. I know when Nox. It feels like I grew up with her.
Yes.
So she was just too close to home. So I learned a lot of lessons from her. And also even from a point of judging her.
Yeah.
From a point of wanting to control the narrative and
Yes.
how I had to like detach and learn from that. There were so many lessons I needed to learn from that. Yeah.
It's it's such a refining process.
It is.
And
it is.
that's why what we do has to be lifelong. You know, like, because I feel like even in our old age, we will be attracting characters that even at that point in time will force us to reflect on whatever beings we are at that time, or whatever perceptions we have of the world or our environment. It'll always be a lifelong process or journey.
Of course. Mama, you've been in the industry for some time. What can you say about financial freedom when it comes to us artists, creatives?
So I think because the industry is not regulated, right? We are vulnerable to some form of exploitation, a lot of exploitation. And so I think as an actor, it's important to make the process so sacred that you come to the process full. I think we have to think about like creating different forms of income. Yes. So that we're full in our personal capacities, so that when we're invited to work and come into the space and bring a character to life, we're coming as full vessels. Too many of us come into processes like hungry, you know? We've all been there, and I feel like that sense of scarcity, that energy can act as a block. Like it can block us from making choices that you would make when you are coming into a process just like really filled, when your cup is really full. So it's our responsibility. We are accountable for how full we are when we walk into a job. So you have to take care of yourself in that sense. I'm learning that you have to find different ways financially to sustain yourself, you know, so that you keep your process as an actor sacred, because really that's what it is. We give of ourselves so much. We pour so much of our souls onto stages and into these characters that we play on TV and film. You can't give when you're hungry. You can't.
I mean, sometimes, girl, it depends.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, remember when you were hungry.
But that was like a different hunger.
Yeah,
you know?
Okay.
Sometimes, I feel like sometimes we walk into audition rooms like with that hunger.
Desperation.
The desperation. And so we need to take care of ourselves and make sure that we fill the cup, so that when we walk in, we are so full of self, you know, so taken care of. It's so important, because I feel like people pick up when you are hungry.
True,
you know?
True. And it shows on your vibration, on your energy as a performer when you are walking to that audition room. And sometimes you ask yourself, why am I not booking? Because of the energy that you are expressing when you get there. But it's such a conversation with so many layers when it comes to financial freedom for actors. I've had to challenge so many actors first, because sikule tiwa, no, I just want to act. I'm just an actor. Until the day I die, I will be an actor. And that mentality, I've seen it amongst actors, and sometimes it's a mentality that keeps us stuck in one space because
true.
it does not bring in financial freedom.
Yes.
It does not help you financially. And when you decide to expand as an artist because you are acting, because you are expressing stories,
Yes.
so then when you allow yourself to think bigger than just, only using your body, whether you are writing, whether you are directing, or just doing other things, because you are a multidimensional being.
Yes.
So express yourself in other ways that can be able to bring in money. And I think another thing I'm learning is that it's just my opinion, you don't have to put so much pressure on your art.
Yes. To be the
Yes,
the-
you don't have
the
to
check.
to be the check.
Yes.
To be the check, but also there's been so much pride in wanting to prove that I can provide for my family using the art that they thought I wouldn't, like I wouldn't make it with. But you don't have to put so much pressure on your art, on your expression, on your voice, on your ideas. You can actually find ways to make money so that you
Yes.
can survive.
Yes.
So multiple streams of income is the answer for creatives.
Especially in this economical climate,
Of
but also
course.
especially with where our industry
Is.
is at. And then we also need to, because we can't unionize, we need to be part of organizations that are at least trying to create a
something.
standard
Yes.
for us, like a regulation, so that we can practice,
I hear you.
and
I hear
make a living out of our careers and our craft. But I agree with you 100% that if you can look at yourself as an actor and think, I am everything under the sun, why can't you look at yourself as a creative, as a human being, and think, I am everything under the sun. I am so much more resourceful than just an actor.
Okay, so pretty lady, let's play a game. You know the rules, right?
Yes.
Cool. I'll start it. So, I went to Lesotho for the first time.
Yes, and I traveled with the taxi.
Yes. And the taxi was so noisy. The music they were playing there.
Yes, and the car was squeaking, tweaky, tweaky, tweaky. The brakes were like, "Grr." I was wondering if we're going to get there safely.
Yes. And the lady that was eating KFC on the back seat started shouting at the driver.
Yes, and he stopped the car once we were in the middle between Joburg and Lesotho.
Yes, we were so close to the border, and then he was like, "Get out of my car!"
Yes, and then we all got out of his car with our bags.
Yes, you can imagine how hot it was. There were four men sitting behind the driver wearing those big Lesotho blanket.
Yes, and then they took off the blankets and whipped out guns.
Yes, and we realized that they were actually Zamazamas rushing for a job.
Yes, and then they took all our stuff and the car came through.
Yes, and they drove off with another car with our stuff, and we were left there just dumbfounded.
What a sad story. Moral of the story, don't go to Lesotho ka taxi.
Don't go to
Tlhokomela.
Lesotho ka taxi. Mama, thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
time and
Of
your
course.
energy.
I hope
and
we get
the
to do it
conversation.
again. Okay, my loving. I know your generations, and I am loving that character because you are kicking it.
Thank you.
Damn, that's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
character, Mama.
Thank you so
And you
much.
embody it like so beautifully. I believe that you are, bigger and
Corporate criminal.
What's next?
What's next is a film that's coming up that pays homage to a drum magazine. I don't want to give too much information away, but for now, that is what's next that I can share, and a lot more music. I am a musician now. I just dropped my musical debut.
Yeah.
And I've been collaborating with a lot of house producers, a lot of DJs. So I can't wait for people to see that aspect of my creativity and hopefully enjoy it. I know they'll enjoy it. The deep house music lovers will. And then there's more, but that's what's next. And your side? Ooh, I cannot wait to hear what's next with you.
Okay, so obviously I am busy with Nozuko Ntshangase, the coaching business.
Yes.
I think what's next is just more digital programs to just assist performers, to assist creatives. I'm really passionate about creatives understanding self-mastery. You know what you were talking about with Stephen, being able to best know yourself so you can understand your voice, but also in a healing way, in a healthy way. I really want us to have conversations around anxiety, depression, and everything that is a challenge to us performers and creatives. So really that's what you will see more of from my side, and more directing work. I'm really stepping into the directing side.
That's a natural
You
for
know,
me. From seeing you, it feels like that's a natural next step.
So definitely more directing work and just one theatre play that's coming soon.
Yay!
So yeah,
We will be there, definitely.
so yes, that's what's coming up.
I mean, the acting coaching is really such a beautiful process. And I think that's such a gift that you're giving to people and actors. So how do we become a part of your program? I would love to know. And is it just open to professionals or is it also aspiring actors? Can you join if you're not an actor? How do we find your coaching?
So you can email me at uzugolwami@gmail.com or inbox me at I am Nozuko on Instagram or at uzukolwami on Instagram. Sorry. So I work with inspiring actors. I hardly do. I would love to work with professionals, but at this moment, I haven't worked with a lot of professionals. And this is because most of my clients are people that have disconnected from the art. So it's mostly people that will be like, I went to vets, I'm currently in corporate, and I just would like to come back into the industry, or I just would like to come back to the artistic side of me. So I usually work with those people. And also I teach self-mastery, not just for actors, but for musicians, for painters, for whatever kind of creative content creators. I think it's very important also to have those kind of conversations so that how can you grow your voice? How can you be more creative? So do check me out on Instagram or send me an email.
Lovely.
Yeah. And for you, Mama, how do you get your music?
You can get my music on all streaming platforms.
Okay.
I am literally on every single music streaming platform you can find. You can also find me on YouTube, on Instagram at Didintle Khunou, on X, literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
And you can also watch A Scam Called Love, which is in cinemas now.
Ooh.
And you can see me on Generations on SABC. You can watch my shows on Netflix, on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, is there anyone who's going to take me off a date to watch A Scam Called Love?
Yes.
Please? Mama Sbaleli said it's so lovely.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, Sanda-san. Thank you. Hope we get to do it again.
Yes, let's do it again.
God bless.